What's going on? This is your man John Fortune, your host of the Frustrated Fan Sports Show, and tomorrow is the big game. The Washington Commanders face the Tennessee Titans, and this is a game that is a duel or die game. Jaden Daniels going to have to go out here and probably win us this game. Brian Robinson will be playing, but we know he's not 100%. Austin Eckler is out. Andrew Wiley is out. We might get Marshawn Lattimore in this game, but right now he's listed as questionable. And also in the depth chart, they're showing that it's going to be Benjamin St-Juste opposite of Marshawn Lattimore and not Mikey Sandersteele. They're going to put Sandersteele in the slot. That's what they're saying right now. We don't know if that's going to be the case, but right now it's listed as that. This is a game that if Washington doesn't outduel Tennessee, then they're going to be in a situation where they cannot lose another game. Like in reality, they need to win down the stretch right now, starting with this Tennessee game. But if they do lose this game, they cannot sit up there and lose another game. Like they cannot lose another game. And if they do lose another game, they're going to be in a world of trouble because of the fact that it only gets tougher in the next 4 games. The next 4 games are all NFC games. And if they happen to lose any, and you're talking about you having to deal with tiebreakers and things like that, you can mess around and be in a situation where it could be Tampa Bay or New Orleans that beat you out for that playoff spot. And that's another thing. You're actually facing the NFC South in 2 games and then the NFC East in the other 2 games. So now you're talking about the possibility of falling out of the top 2 spots in your own division. But even though you probably can't, but still having problems in your own division, but at the same time just falling completely off in the NFC as a whole. So this is not a game to be playing around in. This is not a game to be playing around with. You have to sit up there and really be on your P's and Q's. Because if you're not, then you're going to be in a situation where you're not going to understand what's happening and what's going on, because you're going to be sitting there trying to figure out how the Commanders didn't make the playoffs. And this is why you don't play around when you have games, and you don't play games so closely. So it's coming down to a very tough stretch of games. Now, I will say this. A couple of commenters said that this reminds them of 1996. I think they said 1996. And no. Yeah, I think it was 1996 and 2008. Now, 2008 I can understand. But 1996, I can kind of understand that one too, because I think that was Gus's first year as quarterback. That was Gus's first year as quarterback, and I think that was that year that they lost the 4 games down the stretch. Yes, they lost 4 games. I think at that time they were 7-3. I think they were, and they ended up losing 4. Like they were 7-3 with 6 games to go. And they won their first game, and then they went on a 4-game losing streak, and they went on a 4-game losing streak and ended up beating Dallas at the end of the season. But Dallas didn't need the game, so I can see that. I could definitely see that. But this is a duel or die game. We have to come out, and they have to come out and play like they really want to make the playoffs and like they want to make an impact this year. This is not a good thing. Now, everybody talks about Cliff Kingsbury and his failures and stuff like that, but everybody also forgets that Dan Quinn in his first year as head coach of Atlanta, I think they started off pretty hot. I think they were 5-2 at one point and ended up finishing the season 8-8. So I mean, Dan Quinn didn't have the best record his first year around as head coach for the Atlanta Falcons. So I hope that they don't fall apart towards the end, because at this point they can only lose one game. And to be honest, currently right now, the teams that you're going to be facing, New Orleans, Atlanta, Philadelphia, you can't lose one of those games, because those games are going to matter a lot. Now, the Philadelphia game might mean way more than you could ever imagine, because of the fact that because you're not going to catch up with them, they're going to win the division. You're not going to catch up with them. But if you can find a way to get tiebreakers, that really helps you. You have to beat Philadelphia to get the tiebreakers. Like, Philadelphia has a lot of tiebreakers over teams. And currently right now, Tampa Bay has the tiebreaker over us. So it's one of those things where if it comes down to Tampa Bay and us, we might be out. And it still doesn't help that if New Orleans has been playing a little bit better, I don't think that they're going to be great, but they've been playing a little bit better as of late. So we'll definitely see how this goes. All I know is that this has turned around very quickly. We did succeed very quickly, but even with that being said, to me, it's hard to consider it success when you come down the stretch and there's a chance that you can lose 2 or 3 games. And currently right now, we cannot, like I said, we can only lose one game. We can only lose one game. I know that a lot of people say, John, you can still make the playoffs at 10-7. I think the road to making the playoffs at 10-7 is a lot harder than the road to making the playoffs at 11-6. So, because right now the NFC is playing very tightly. So this is not an easy game to really deal with. Now, I will say this. I don't think Tennessee will lay down to us. Currently right now, Tennessee has, when you look at the Tennessee Titans roster, they actually have some top level guys. In fact, they have some of the best in the league guys. 2 of their guys are out. Quandre Diggs is out. He's on IR. And L'Jarius Sneed is out. They're both out. But they do have Harold Landry, who's one of the best pass rushers in the league. And you also have the second best defensive tackle in the league, right behind Charles Jones and Jeffrey Simmons. So you have a serious group. Now, I'll also say this. They have a very strong group of receivers. When you think about Calvin Ridley, T. Higgins, and Westbrook Ikhine, those are very dangerous receivers. And even when you think about that, their tight end is just as dangerous too, and Okonkwo. So this team can really be a threat. What we have to do is exactly the opposite of what we didn't do in the Dallas game, and we have to blitz Will Levis to death. Because, like I said, currently right now, I told y'all in the evaluation of Will Levis, he reminded me a lot of Carson Wentz. This year, he's playing like Sam Howell did last year. So I do think that if you get the pressure in his face, you make him think about it, you make him hold on to the ball, he will give turnovers and things like that. And plus, I think that at this point, Tennessee feels that they don't think Will Levis is the future either. And I think that they're going to try their best to be in contention to grab one of these. In reality, probably just the 2 quarterbacks that's up at the top right now, because a lot of the other ones aren't playing as strongly as they want them to. But still, again, you're talking about there's a big chance that Washington can sit up there and take this game. They need this game. This game will be played at the Fed trap. So we're going to see what happens in this game. This will be the game that we might see Jaden Daniels put it all together. We might see him with the 300 yards passing. We might see him with the 3 touchdowns. We might see him with 100 yards rushing. We're going to need Jaden Daniels to really pull out all the stops for us. Not only that, I hope they found a way to get Terry the ball. He needs the ball. You cannot sit up there and ignore Terry. Like I said, we see every other team in the league. The only team that's struggling right now with that, and it's insane that they're struggling with that, is the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are struggling to get the ball to their top receivers, which is crazy. But Washington, we need to get Terry the ball. Other teams have no problem forcing the ball to their top receivers. We need to get Terry the ball, and we need to get Terry the ball as often as possible, because to be honest, I know everybody's talking about the fact that Brian Robinson is the key to what's going on when it comes to our offense. But in reality, guess what? When Terry isn't a major factor in the game, 9 times out of 10 we lose as well too. So our identity is running the ball, but if you don't get Terry the ball, there's no way to win. Zero way to win. You have to get Terry at least 10 to 13 touches a game, because again, he's that big of a difference maker. He makes things, he does things when everybody talks about him being at the 13th, him not being part of the top 10 when it comes to receivers. And I understand that there's an argument there, but when it comes to us, he's a dangerous factor, and teams hate facing him. This is actually the game to give Terry the opportunity to have a huge game. Like I said, we got 5 games coming. With this Tennessee game, after that we got 4 games left. And we cannot lose an NFC game down the stretch. All 4 games are NFC games. Atlanta, New Orleans, Philadelphia, Dallas. We cannot lose these games. If we lose these games coming down the stretch, we're not making the playoffs. If we win these games down the stretch, we're winning the playoff. We're in the playoffs. Like I said, y'all tell me what y'all think. How do y'all feel about this game? We have a huge game, but this is a duel or die game. And if we don't do what we need to do, we're going to be in trouble. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Other than that, this has been your man, John Fortune, and it's been the Frustrated Fan Sports Show.